My dearest friend, here is Dr.Rey, concerned about your health, concerned about your beauty. Today I want to talk about something very serious, which has touched all of us plastic surgeons, and it has touched me particularly in my own team, where I have a wonderful manager and a coordinator who is, I've seen her go through surgeries, through suffering because of an eating disorder. So today I want to talk a little bit about eating disorders. Let's start right off the bat with two of perhaps the most important examples of eating disorder, which is bulimia and anorexia. Many times they coexist, and many other comorbidities can also exist. What is the significance of this disease in psychiatry and psychology? It is the #1 killer. I'm going to repeat that. In all of the diagnostics in psychiatry, it's the #1 killer. Also has one of the greatest recidivism. The cure rate is very poor. So 1/3 get worse, 1/3 stay the same. And in reality, less than 1/3 improve. It's about 20%. So today, as I do sometimes, as a very senior surgeon, looking back in my career, I want to add just one more angle, which perhaps has not been discussed as some of the more scientific solutions, because it's a very prevalent problem. So I'm going to come at it in a little more personal point of view, sociological point of view, even spiritual point of view, okay? Let's talk about a little more about the statistics. It tends to occur in women, 95% women, although it occurs in men too. And the ages of prevalence are between 12 and 30. Although, concerningly, 15% of women over 50 suffer from an eating disorder. Let's talk a little bit about the shocking statistics on college campuses. Around 15% of all women in college suffer from anorexia, bulimia, some other eating disorder, or together. We talk about the cure rates, we talk about the statistics. What are some of the symptoms? Inordinate preoccupation with body image, to the point, and that's partly definitional, where it will, the obsession with body image is to the point that it disturbs your activity, your performance. Frequently we see grades falling. Frequently we see less social interaction. They become reclusive. Many times we see an obsession with exercise. Exercise is great, but an obsession with exercise. We see a disdain for food, worse. A dislike for food, worse. A hate of food, a terror of food. What are the terrible consequences to the human body? Well, first and foremost is the #1 killer, which I start this video with. The #1 killer in all diagnostics, in all of psychiatric or psychological literature. As you guys know, I'm very organized. I usually like to go from head to toe. Brain. When a person is chronically starved, they will start to auto-digest, catabolism, okay? So the body will start to break down the brain. So we see additional behavioral problems, but we also see analytical problems. Literally, the IQ drops. Blood. The white cells and the red cells, of course, are made of protein, largely protein. They're decreased. So you cannot fight against infections as well, and you cannot deliver oxygen to your tissues as well. This is a disaster. Heart's made out of muscle, obviously, and the body will start to digest. The heart gets very thin, so you cannot pump blood efficiently. Your blood pressure drops, and you enter a very dangerous area. Lungs. lungs. The body will start to digest the lung, and you develop respiratory problems. Of course, asthma is a psychosomatic, in part, psychogenic problem. You feed even more into that. GI system. Your kidneys, because many times these people also hold back, restrict juices and hydration in general, and they start to have electrolyte and kidney problems. Musculoskeletal, you can have osteoporosis, problems with your muscles, etc. So it is devastating. I want to touch on mortality, morbidity, mortality one more time. Frequently, death comes from the wasting of the heart being so severe that the person actually has a heart attack. Let's talk a little bit about the treatments which are available. I already talked about the devastating statistics, which is 1/3 of the people that suffer from these conditions, eating disorders, get worse. 1/3 stay the same, and it's a little more actually, and only 20% improve. And what are some of the strategies? Psychoanalysis, obviously, behavioral modification, but also psychiatry. Why many times they have an underlying comorbidity, underlying psychiatric problems such as depression, or neurosis of some other kind. So here I am. I've seen it among my patients. I've seen it in my family. I've seen it among my dear coworkers. And I would like to bring a slightly different angle. What is the profile? And the genesis seems to be in the family. What is the profile of these families? Occasionally fanatical. Families, by and large, also obsessed with material things. It seems like a contradiction, but it's not. What college did you go to? What are your grades? How many AP courses are you taking? How many sports are you in? An obsession with the things of the world, the material things. Okay, I've had a lot of success, but these mansions come and go. I don't care. I want to serve my country. I want to serve my God. And I will end life as a missionary surgeon in the middle of the jungle working for free. That's how I want it. Okay? The obsession with money. Money never brought me happiness. The obsession with degrees. No one ever looks at my Harvard degree. When we create families obsessed with material accomplishment, when we create families that think they're so perfect, they don't discuss any problems. Families that are little jokes. So the cynicism is very dangerous, very destructive. All criticism destroys. Look, you're 1 inch on the pinch test. Oh my gosh, you're gaining weight. Why can't you be skinny like your mom was? You're creating a big problem, especially around 10, 11, 12. Big problem. So let's look at the grades, shall we? It was Michael Jordan who says, I only am great because I first failed. 33 times the ball was passed to me to shoot the last game-determining point, and I missed. I succeed because I first failed. How about Winston Churchill? Winston Churchill was overweight. Winston Churchill flunked the military academy. I think it was the first one in decades or centuries in his family. But it was Churchill that the world turned to, the loser, to save us from fascism. So I speak as a person who comes from nothing. My mom cleaned bathrooms. I will tell you that it's not possible to succeed without failure. Look, I'll just pick one example. I applied to Harvard 6 times. I failed 5 times, people. Failure is an important step in learning, in gaining strength, in accomplishment. You cannot succeed without first failing. I promise you. So let's create families where failure is okay. Where failure, we learn from failure. And the other thing, let's discuss the problems of our family. Quote, hey you guys, I noticed that we have a little friction here in the house. Let's discuss it. What's going on? Let's bring it out in the open. Families that discuss, admit the shortcomings, families that discuss their problems, and families that are nurturing and not militarily criticizing all the time. Okay, you guys? I'm here for you. I love you. Not only your beauty, but also your health. Dr. Rey, the King of Beauty and the King of Health. Ciao, ciao.